So it's kind of human nature to want to one-up your friends, right? Especially among guys. It's just always kind of a competition with certain things. It can actually be pretty fun. And so if you have some buddies that also are into fragrances, right? It can start to become kind of like a competition because you may show up to work or school or wherever it is that you show up to and you're both wearing fragrances, right? And it's kind of like, all right, what are you wearing today? What am I wearing today? Who smells better? If you want to always win that competition and you want to stay one step ahead of the game, you should subscribe to the channel. Because think about it, I'm posting videos every day, lists, first impressions, reviews, buying guides, all of that stuff. On top of that, I'm posting deals multiple times every single day on my community tab. So not only will you be smelling better than your friend, but you'll probably have also spent less money than him because you're subscribed and you post my deals. Rather, actually, you watch my deals as I post them and take advantage of them, is what I was trying to say. So today we're going to be going over 10 fragrances that will make your friends jealous. If you always want to smell better than them, this is going to be the video for you. Take a look at these, check them out, do some research, watch my reviews on the ones that I've reviewed, and I think you'll be pretty impressed with the results that you get from these right here. And I will link all of these individually down below as well, so you can check them out if you're interested. You can get them at a low price. I know it may be exciting to see the video and then rush out to a retailer near you or a store or Walmart or something and buy them, but I encourage you not to because, again, you can save money by using discounters. That's what the hidden secret is that us fragrance people know that people outside the community really don't know exists. And speaking of not knowing that stuff exists outside the community, that's L'Homme Les Parfums. Yeah, I mean, really, outside of the community, what are the popular ones from the line? La Nuit de L'Homme and probably L'Homme. Talking just the YSL L'Homme line and La Nuit de L'Homme line. Probably those two, right? You know, as soon as you start getting deep into the rabbit hole, because let's be real, there are a lot of flankers in both lines, stuff like this starts to get lost in the shuffle. So what is L'Homme Les Parfums? It is a mixture of a few different things. It's a mixture of some of the popular blue fragrances from the brand like YSL-Y, EDT, EDP, and also it's a mix of the original L'Homme with a little bit more of a modern twist on that original L'Homme, which also is kind of coming from the blue fragrance tendencies that this one picks up. So it's really a nice little hybrid here of bringing together a couple different worlds, something more classic and something a little bit more modern and mass-pleasing. And for that reason, I actually really like this one. I wasn't fully expecting to, just because I thought it would maybe be too boring. You know, when you watch and listen to the hardcore critics out there on the forums and maybe like, this probably isn't going to be that good. But it's something I actually reach for. And even if I'm not wearing it that particular day, I'm doing exactly what I'm doing now. I'm appreciating it. You know, I'll see it sitting there on the shelf, pick it up, I'll spray it up in the air, and I'll be like, that is just pleasant. If you want something that works and that's going to have you smelling amazing, you should give this one some attention. Now, this next one here I'm super excited about because it's so cheap. And even though it's so cheap, it is so impressively good. This is the Icon Eau de Toilette by Antonio Banderas. Now, I believe this is a 2020 or 2021 release. I do know that they just came out with an EDP this year, which I have ordered and is actually available already for 20 bucks. I'll link that down below as well, but I'll do a review on that at some point coming up, or maybe you've probably already seen that. Well, maybe not. I don't know. The point is just, I'll cover that in a minute, all right? Back to the EDT though. This one is so good. And again, you can get this for like $19, $20 for a full presentation, or you can get a tester, still 100 ml, for $14. First of all, look at this. I'm going to get close to the microphone. Ready? Pressurized atomizer. Did you hear that satisfying click? Let's do this again up close. That's ASMR right there. Now, scent-wise, it's kind of a mixture of a bunch of the big blues like Sauvage and Dylan Blue. To me, it goes more in the Dylan Blue direction than Sauvage, but it also has more of this kind of spiciness going on, especially off the top. You get a nice citrus opening, a ton of ambroxan, but it has a little bit more of like a mature patchouli woodiness in here that Sauvage doesn't have and that Dylan Blue does kind of have. So that's kind of why I say it trends more in that direction. Now, look, there's a ton of fragrances out there that are in this category, but at this price point, this stuff is unparalleled. I mean, it is incredibly good. Even I've been wearing it lately, and I have Sauvage and all these other blue fragrances, right? But this $14 scent does so much. There are fragrances that are $30, $35 that aren't as good and don't do as much as this one for, you know, just that price point. And even the performance is solid. Seriously, check this one out. You will be impressed. Now, this one here can sometimes be a little bit tricky to get, but if you watch my community tab, you'll know exactly where to get it. It's Stronger With You, absolutely. It is not the newest flanker anymore. It was at some point, right? But it's the newest flanker out of just the main line. Now they're kind of branching out and doing like special editions like the leather and the oud and all that stuff, right? But, you know, it goes the original, intensely, and absolutely. That's that main line. They covered all their concentrations there. This is the Parfum concentration. And for me, it's the best one. It's my favorite. It has rum, chestnut, vanilla. It's got that sweetness dialed in, but with a little bit more of a boozy take and a slight bit more of a maturity. If you want to smell better than everyone else around you and you want to make your friends jealous, especially in the fall and winter time, this is a great way to go. Kind of like ARMAFCDNIM Intense Man Limited Edition Parfum. Talk about a name on this one, right? And you got to say all that when someone asks what you're wearing, by the way. You can't cut corners. You can't just say it's Club de Nuit Intense Man. You can't just say, oh, it's Armaf. You can't just say, oh, Creative Ventus Clone. You got to say out that full name, okay? That's dedication. No, you really don't, but I think it would be kind of funny just to see people's look on their face, their reaction, because they're just going to be kind of looking at you like, right, you know, can you write that down for me? And you should write that down for him, because this is a great scent. Now, of course, it's a Creative Ventus clone. That this line is known for that, the Club de Nuit Intense Man line. There's an EDT, an EDP, Parfum, the Parfum Limited Edition. There's this pure Parfum oil also, so there's a good amount of them. But this one here has been my favorite. Now, I haven't tried the pure Parfum oil, but out of everything else that I've tried, this is the one that I would recommend you to get. I'm sure that Parfum oil is really good. It just seems to be even more hard to get than this one. This kind of goes in and out of stock. But I've had so much luck with this. You know, the scent quality has been amped up here. You know, it's not harsh and rough like the original is, and especially was, and that was the only option. That was the main critic of Club de Nuit Intense Man, was the opening, that lemon pledge smell. They fixed that here. It's richer, it's stronger, it's more smoky, and it's got great performance. If you want that Aventus DNA at a fraction of the cost, and you want what might be one of the best clones out there right now anyway, for the price, check this one out. I still love this fragrance here so much. Absolutely love it. Hugo Boss Reversed. This is one of my precious scents. I don't know. It's just one of those things where, I don't know. I smell it and it just takes me back to the summer that I discovered this. And it was just a real nice time of smelling it and be like, wait a minute, this is actually kind of special. Because the Hugo Boss line, and I'm talking about these canteen style bottles, are all going to be similar to each other in that they're just super bare bones and basic. Hugo Boss Iced, Hugo Boss Now, there's a ton of them. They all smell great, don't get me wrong, but they don't have a ton of substance to them. Now, I'm not saying this is the king of depth-oriented fragrances or anything, right? But it has more going on, and it has more of a personality than all of the other ones in the line. And to me, I think this could have been good enough to hold up like as its own separate release, and they could have spawned flankers off of this alone. I really do think that. It's got rosemary, bergamot, grapefruit, vetiver, ambroxan. Kind of smells a little bit like Roja Parfum's Elysium. Not a clone of that one. It's not that close, but similar, you know. Kind of gives you a similar feel. Just super nice. My fiance loves how this one smells. It's always one she, you know, requests me to wear in the summertime. It's super easy to wear. It's super low price online as well, usually $30, $40 for, I believe it's 125 ml. Even the performance is solid for the price here. It's just, I don't know, it's one of my favorites. If you want to smell better than everyone else around you, because I guarantee most people aren't going to be wearing something like this, you know, you should in turn get this. This one here is also really impressive. It's Afnan's 9 p.m. The presentation is above and beyond, especially in this price point. It looks great in pictures, but pictures only do so much. When I got this one in for the first time and I was holding it, the cap itself is super, super heavy. The bottle also has some weight to it. The glass is relatively thick. I mean, it's not cheap by any means. This presentation is actually nicer than some $60, $70, $80 fragrances that I have. Like, legitimately, just the weight and the heft of this one, and even just the sleek look is actually really impressive, and I have to give it to them. This is nice. It doesn't look like most clone brand presentations that look a little bit out there, and you can tell that it's a clone brand. It is off-non, and they have some stuff that is out there, but these are really, really well done. Now, simply put, this is a clone of Ultra Male, also at a fraction of the price. And some people have issues with Ultra Male's performance. I've been lucky enough that I've never had issues with it, but this might be the solution to your problem, because I get really good performance from 9 p.m. I think a lot of people get decent performance out of it as well, and so hopefully you will too. It's very close to Ultra Male. Not exact. It doesn't quite have as much of that sweet pear punchiness. It's there, but not quite as much. Nothing can hit home like the opening of that original Ultra Male. I love that stuff, but this gets you very close, and you're going to smell amazing. We're going to go with a new release just because I had to. Felt like I would be doing this video a disservice if I didn't include this one when I felt as though it should be in here. It's Ralph's Club PARFUM version. This is something that's exceeded my expectations heavily. I'm going to actually make this my scent of the day too when I'm done shooting this, just because I've just been testing it a lot. I've been wearing it a lot, and I like the original, don't get me wrong, but I knew that, of course, the brand is going to put out flankers, and I knew that there was a lot they could do with this DNA and improve upon, and already with this Parfum, they have knocked it out of the water. It's got that somewhat original Ralph's Club smell, but with some spiciness, like a cardamom, warm spiciness, some black pepper, and you're still getting the aromatics like the sage and that sort of thing, but it's just a little bit more refined and mature, but still not losing grip of that kind of original DNA and what they're trying to do with it. It is what I would consider to be a top-notch flanker in that they got the balance just right. Still similar to the original, but it goes in a different direction, far enough that it's not redundant, and to me, they improved upon it. The performance has been really good on my skin. It is a Parfum, and I really enjoy this one a lot, and this is definitely going to set you apart from everyone else. All right, let's switch gears and go to a cheapie. It's MISSONI Wave. So this is kind of a hybrid of Chanel Allure Homme Sport and Versace Pour Homme. Now, it may sound kind of silly if you already have one or both of those, and I thought the same thing initially, because as I was picking this one up and looking around online, I'm like, oh, it looks to be close to those two. I have those two, and I love those fragrances. I love that DNA, so it's cool. I know I'm going to like it, but will it be redundant? That was the big question. And you know what? Surprisingly, I haven't found it to be redundant. There are times where, I wake up, especially here throughout spring and summer, I'm like, all right, I'm kind of in the mood for Versace Pour Homme, and I wear Versace Pour Homme. There are times where I wake up and, if it's slightly cooler outside, I might reach for Chanel Allure Homme Sport, especially for like a spring morning. It's got a little bit more of that creaminess, sweetness. But the MISSONI is good for when I want a hybrid of the two, and I just want something that is ultimately going to give me a different result than both of those, right? And so that's kind of where I'm at with this one. It takes the freshness of the Versace and some of that sweetness of the Chanel and kind of melds them together, and then gives it a little bit more of like its own kind of, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is here, kind of like this ozonic sweet twist in a way, to where I think it's really nice. And at the price point, you really can't go wrong with it. Here's another really nice one for fall and winter coming up. Halloween Man Shot. It's got iris, vanilla, cardamom. Big fan of this one here, and it's also a cheapie, so that's pretty cool as well. I think we all remember Halloween Man Shot. This one was getting a fair amount of hype. It was being featured and talked about all the time. And then Halloween Man X came out, and then this one just got pushed in the dark, and then everyone's talking about Halloween Man X. I love Halloween Man X. I was also talking about it a lot. So it's not like I'm saying that's a bad thing, but it's just funny how the spotlight shifts and how quickly the fragrance community moves. Like, think about it. This hobby moves so quick. Something can be at the top of the game, and the second something else comes out, it's gone, right? It's happened with so many huge fragrances. You know, all that aside, I still like this version. You know, if you're caught up in the Halloween Man X thing, it's great. It's got whiskey, coffee, tonka bean. It's a nice one, but you know, I like the iris in here. I like the vanilla, and it's just one that I think you should also still give some love every now and then. Another new release, this is the last one for this video, but this one has actually made it to discounters now, at least on and off, so you do have a fighting chance of getting this one for a little bit of a lower price. From Terre d'Hermès, or from Hermès actually, it's Terre d'Hermès Eau GIVREE. So this is going to be the replacement to Eau Très Fraîche, which has been discontinued due to the reformulation issues. So instead of reformulating that one in the dark and not telling us, or just re-releasing Eau Très Fraîche with a tweaked formula, they're just axing it and bringing this one, which honestly I kind of am okay with that approach here. You know, it's one of those situations where it worked out well, because I actually like this better than Eau Très Fraîche. At first, I was like, oh, kind of on the fence, you know, in terms of which I like better. But after I've been wearing this one more, this is the clear winner. I love that citron opening that is, you know, different from the orange and like the dry orange and woods openings that you get from, you know, the original Terre d'Hermès. This one here has a bit more of a punch, a bit more of a vibrance, and I just really like that. The bottle represents this one great. That frosted glass on the back there, all around, you know, you can see it through the front, which is clear. It does kind of have this frosted, you know, I don't know, frosted glass of lemonade, warm weather type of smell. Just a very happy scent, something that puts me in a good mood. It smells great in the warm weather. Alrighty guys, that's going to do it for me. 10 fragrances that will have you smelling better than everyone else around you, and undeniably, they're going to make your friends jealous. So if you want to keep winning that battle, you want to keep being the best smelling person in the room and around everyone else, check out some of these fragrances. Use the links down below. Get subscribed. I'm posting first impressions on new stuff as soon as they come out, posting deals on my community tab all the time. Appreciate your support. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.